What's up guys, K-Wolves here. Today I'm going to do my review of Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 4 Episode 17. And the title was called The Box. And I gotta say, this episode, I really enjoyed it because in this episode we saw that Obi-Wan, who was still in disguise as Hardeen, CAD Bane, and Morale Evolved, they landed on the planet and they met with Count Dooku. And apparently that Count Dooku had gathered a whole bunch of bounty hunters, that infamous bounty hunters. Like these were like the top tier bounty hunters in the galaxy, and one of them was actually Embo. If you guys remember who Embo was from season 2 in the bounty hunter episode, the guy was pretty badass. You know, he had like the metal hat. You know, his skills were really good and with hand-to-hand combat, and I was actually excited to see Embo that he was back. And I knew that he was like a top tier bounty hunter because just the way that he looks and you know his moves and whatnot, he's a really talented bounty hunter. And speaking of the hats, there was this one scene in the episode where Cad Bane was talking to like two of the bounty hunters, and one of them had like a cowboy hat like he did, and Cad Bane actually liked the hat, so he was complimenting on him about the hat, and the guy had pulled out his pistol, but Cad Bane had shot him already, and he took the hat, and it was like whatever, you know. And then two guys were brothers, so it was weird because the other brother didn't really show any emotion, you know, which shows that how hardcore these bounty hunters are. You know, they only care about getting the job done and getting the money. And the reason why all of them were gathered because they were all here to be put on a test and pretty much to see which out of all the bounty hunters, they were only going to pick five, and these five was going to join Morale Evolve and help kidnap the Chancellor Palpatine. And so and they entered inside the box, which was a creation of Morale Evolve. And then we get to like a scene with Anakin and Yoda, where Yoda confesses to Anakin that he's sorry that they had to misinform Anakin about it, and they tell him the whole truth about Obi-Wan going undercover. Because Yoda knows that Anakin is a strong Jedi, and that his connection to the Force is powerful, but he knows how Anakin can make bad decisions because of his emotions. But Yoda pretty much tells Anakin that they should let that Obi-Wan should be left alone and let him resolve the whole situation. And then we continue on with the entrance of the box, and the first challenge is pretty much more of a survival test to see who would be better adapted to be on the mission, because there were some events were kind of like what they would see when they would try to go and kidnap Chancellor Palpatine. So the first challenge was like this whole room which was like filled with like toxic gas, and they had to find a way to escape. And Obi-Wan had found out, and he actually escaped, and all the other guys had also escaped as well, and nobody was killed yet. And the next challenge was when these whole blocks were moving around, and they kind of had like something like lightsabers, like some lasers were being pointed out, and they were moving in random patterns, and they had to figure out. And some people did die, but Hardeen, I mean Obi-Wan had found another way to escape the whole thing, and you kind of see like a whole almost like Obi-Wan's just like helping all the other bounty hunters because he can't really like let anybody die, for no reason. So he's kind of helping all the other bounty hunters out by letting them live and whatnot through the challenges. And Count Dooku sees Hardeen and he's like, who is this guy? Because he sees interest in it. He sees that the guy is really talented and is good. And then he finds out that he killed Obi-Wan, and he takes an interest in Hardeen, and he thinks that he should lead the mission. Then morale evolve, and morale evolve. He can't let that happen, so he makes the challenges even more difficult. The next challenge being the whole room being covered by ray shields, and the switch was also protected, but the only way to get through the ray shields was by taking this serum, which would let you allow to go through the ray shields and turn off the switch. But the only problem was that this was very toxic and that only one person was immune. And then we had see one of the bounty hunters who was like this squid with like a mushroom head. I don't remember all their names, but I'll just go by their descriptions. And the squid guy, apparently, with his race of people, they were immune to the toxic. And actually, Obi-Wan had talked about this to the other bounty hunters, so he was the only one to take the serum, and some other deaths were added. But however, the squid guy, I actually thought that he might do some betrayal thing because it's every man for himself. But I guess maybe he realized that he needs the other bounty hunters' help in order to move on. So he goes hits a switch, and Obi-Wan is still there, CAD Bane, Embo, some other bounty hunters are still there. And then the final challenge is where they go to this room and then they see this like sniper rifle, and pretty much they have to shoot like these like glimpses of light in order to move the panels. And one bounty hunter was so confident, he was like, "Let me show you how it's done." And he's shooting the targets, but then he misses, and then he falls into like a pit of fire. Pretty sad for him. And so Obi-Wan had volunteered because he was like, I have to do this, and we have to continue hitting the targets. And surprisingly, Obi-Wan was really good with the sniper rifle. I mean, this guy was shooting all the targets with the greatest of ease, and I'm thinking maybe he using the Force to predict the movements and whatnot. But Obi-Wan was putting in work with that sniper rifle. And so after he shoots targets, he's running out of ammo, and then Morale Evolve, he sees Hardin as a threat, so he tries to like kill him. But surprisingly, Cad Bane saves Hardin. He saves Obi-Wan, and it was pretty weird because Cad Bane, I'm guessing that he had he saw Hardin, Obi-Wan, and what he was doing, and he's probably thinking, this guy's a pretty good bounty hunter. He has my respect. And he wanted, if Morale Evolved wanted him dead, then do it like a man. And Count Dooku agreed, and then they had a whole showdown between Obi-Wan and Morale Evolved, and of course, Obi-Wan did win, but at the end, he couldn't kill Morale Evolved, and that's one of the few weaknesses, with Obi-Wan on this mission, because he can't kill. He's a Jedi. It's against his code, his honor, and his beliefs. So he couldn't kill Morale Evolved, and I'm guessing if he did, then Count Dooku would have promoted him to being the leader, but that wasn't the case because Count Dooku chose Cad Bane to lead the squad, and pretty much who the survivors were Obi-Wan, Cad Bane, um, Embo, the Squid guy, and there was this one bounty hunter. She was like an acrobatic. She was actually really good. She actually did some cool moves back with the whole blocks moving that challenge. And this team actually looks pretty interesting and pretty legit. And except for Obi-Wan, but like you would take Obi-Wan out of that group. That group actually looks threatening. Very skillful, especially with Embo. I want to see more, and I know a lot of people were hoping for like a fight between Cad Bane and Embo, and I was kind of thinking of that too. But really, with these tests, they were really more of survival, survival of the fittest. And Embo survived luckily, and we'll see more action from him in the next episode. Also with Cad Bane, because I know that from the end of season one, we saw that he was with a group in order to free Zero the Hutt, and Cad Bane knows how to like pick good men and or women to suit the job, and he's very successful with his other group when he took Zero the Hutt, and now he has to go take the Chancellor, and I don't see. I'm not sure if this is gonna lie between how episode 3 when we found out that Chancellor Palpatine was kidnapped. If this is the plan, or maybe it's another plan that follows afterwards. I'm not really sure, but it'll be it. But this could be because I was hearing that Clone Wars it might end after like season 5, and then afterwards that's the whole series is gonna end. So maybe this is gonna be the whole thing where Chancellor Palpatine actually does get kidnapped because Count Dooku wants to take Palpatine and pretty much hold him hostage, so that he can release the separatist prisoners. And if not, then he would kill the Chancellor. But overall, this episode was really good. It built some good story for the next episode. Can't wait to see some more Embo action, some other bounty hunters. And this episode was really good because we got to see different styles with the bounty hunters and how they were infamous across the galaxy and stuff like that. So I pretty much did like this episode, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Please let me know your thoughts about this episode, what you like about it, your dislikes, what you thought about Embo's return. And because I know before with Embo, with Embo and Cad Bane, it was like which is the better bounty hunter. But maybe we'll see more of Embo. I know we're gonna see more of him and more of Cad Bane, and maybe we can determine who is the better bounty hunter. But thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe if you did enjoy this review, and like this video if you did. Give us a thumbs up if you did like it, and subscribe of course. And thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace. Embo for the win.